Oh God, we need just a little bit more brightness. If you're doing like a slap thing, a lot of times slap stuff has like a drive on it, or like you could use distortion to achieve the same thing. You just need something to like push the highs through in a nice way, so it's not just like trouble.
Right. Hey guys, it's Bad Snacks here, and welcome to The Sauce Factory. We are a show talking about music production, music technology, music lifestyle, and just generally vibes. We're talking to engineers, producers, and artists from all over Los Angeles. And today I have a super fun guest. We have Allee in the studio, all made up. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Allee is an amazing bassist, producer, songwriter with credits with artists like Chappell Roan, currently on tour with Chappell Roan, with Conan Gray, Mayer, Hawthorne, and how I know you is through JP Sax.
Incredible.
Because
JP brought us here.
Yeah, because you literally played in a band with my brother.
It's true. Yep.
It's also a little funny because I feel like even regardless of the JP Sax camp,
Totally.
we have so many mutual friends.
So many mutual friends.
So bound to cross paths at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just...
Your brother was a pretty good, like, connector, though.
Yeah, for sure. That is what he tends to do.
It's pretty direct.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You are a Southern California born and bred OC native.
Yes.
You then went to Berklee.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you go to Berklee for?
I went for music business.
Oh.
Yeah, curveball.
Smart.
Yeah, I was half performance at some point,
Okay.
and that was fun. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm always curious because I think a big part of Berklee is also just like, who did you connect with in that time, and how did that kind of like set the pace
Totally.
for everything? Because did you move to LA immediately after?
I moved to London.
Oh, cool. Okay, how
Yeah.
long were you in London for?
Like a little under a year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. London
Yeah.
has an amazing music scene.
So sick. Yeah. Yeah, I was working like at a studio and interning for a publishing company, and I was like a child, and that like I had to organize contracts under the floor. They were like, it was like Harry Potter. Like they would like lift up the floor and like put me down there, and they would like read these contracts. So I was like reading like crazy film score contracts, like Patrick Doyle, like Planet of the Apes, like his contract, and like,
Whoa.
yeah, just like, going through these and being like, wow, that's interesting. That's a lot of money. Or like,
You're like, wow, my music business degree is really being put to the test right now.
for sure.
I heard somewhere that you actually were in a metal band in high school.
Who told you that?
You did online.
Fair. Okay.
You didn't tell me directly, but you said it.
How dare I tell you that?
Yeah, I heard from you that you literally toured while you were in high school.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like we like borrowed a friend's van and like drove around places to play shows.
Like during the scholastic year?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. We had singers. We played house shows and basement shows and like weird shows and I don't know, like people's living rooms.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
How did that like set the tone for you?
I think that growing up in that world, like my parents were professional musicians.
Oh, cool.
And that was like what I was into. But like I also played viola, like, so I had to take viola lessons, and I went to like a magnet arts high school. So I was like, I was in orchestra and jazz bands, but I like really like I didn't identify with people that I went to school with. So and my household, like growing up, was like pretty troubled. So I found my way into that scene. And most people in that community like have kind of similar upbringings to the one that I did, like home life vibe. So it actually like it was incredible. It gave me like the foundations of a community, and like really kept me out of trouble. And then also like I met a lot of musicians that way, and I was really there like for the music, and a lot of those people like I'm still really good friends with, so
Amazing.
A lot of them tour and have gone on to do incredible things. Like one of my big brothers, like he started When We Were Young festival.
Oh, wow.
yeah, I don't know. You just like another guy. He was Kendrick Lamar's production manager. Like it just like you just watch people, win. I feel like a lot of people from the scene that I grew up in have done really well, and it's just like it's so cool to see that.
When did you start producing?
Like 2015, 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I've always played in bands, and it just kind of happened. I didn't set out to do it. It just happened. Yeah.
Well, I feel like the string player to bass line pipeline is super real. There's dozens of us.
There's so many of us.
And that totally plays into what being a producer is, because you're just like, well, I can play these different voices. I know how they interact with each other, so why don't I just like fill in the blanks?
For sure. And I think like, especially in orchestras, there's so many different things going on, and that like whether you want to like accept that for yourself when you're creating music, that's where you're getting your ideas from, whether or not it's your 9th grade conducting.
I love the idea of sitting in an orchestra in abject denial. But in a way, high key, I think I did have that experience of sitting in an orchestra being like, this isn't for me.
Oh, 100%. I was like, wow, this is an incredible fugue we're playing, but why am I wearing this stupid tie?
I had to wear a cummerbund.
No.
Yeah. Cummerbund and the bow tie.
It's really rough. It's really rough.
It's really rough. And I was definitely sitting in denial, not thinking about how this was going to serve me in the future.
Yeah.
But high key, it did.
Of course, but like there's nothing like more humiliating than being 15 and being forced to wear a cummerbund and a bow tie.
Especially when you have like a crush on somebody else in the same group and you're like, I have no steez right now. None.
But I pay it forward to someone who needs it and be an example so they can believe it. My soul ain't for sale, but I swear you can keep it.
Anyway, speaking of steez, how did you get into playing with these other artists that are kind of like on your Rolodex? It's a very impressive Rolodex.
Thank you. I just like played around town forever, and like said yes to everything, and then just gradually like met people and was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Like $5 Tuesday, like I'll see you there. you know, like just tried to take everything I possibly could. Yeah, I guess like just friends, like friends. Everybody like gradually doing things and the whole tide rising, and then people are like, you just like build relationships with people over time, and you like did some weird art record together, and then they're now like a film composer, you're like, wow.
How often is it that you get these kinds of gigs with these artists where like, is it always because of a friend connect, or has it ever been like somebody kind of cold calling you?
No, it's always a friend. Like 100% of the time some friend thinks of you for something.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to do a secret sauce portion, a segment one of these days that's like how to network and how to be like a good vibe, because you hear it all the time. People who get picked up for gigs like this, part of the reason, I would say, dare I say, the majority of the reason is also like, are they a good hang? Dude,
for sure. You're like, it's like you're joining a sorority. Like, you're like, that's like what going on tour is.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna hang out every day, all day.
Yes. Yeah. There's no room for being insufferable.
There's no room for it.
Even if you're like sick.
Dude, for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, if you're sick and insufferable, like,
bad combo.
Terrible combo.
Hearing that it is about relationship building, which is such a fine line to dance, because in LA, it's like relationship building is the crux and the foundation of so many opportunities and really like what your career is. And it's also so tough to ride that line of like, okay, but also you have to make it genuine at the same time.
Yeah, like don't try to network with people you don't like. Like that's 100%. Recipe for disaster.
100%.
Have the same interests. And also, I don't know, trying to network, sometimes everybody comes to a point where they're like, I need to meet some new people.
Yeah.
Like, for sure. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But, like, thirstiness is weird. Like, don't be weird.
Don't be weird.
Like, yeah, just, try to find people that you like what they're doing, like, genuinely. Like, you would listen to their music, like,
yes,
regardless.
And there's so many opportunities for that. And there's a phrase that I really love, which is network across, not up.
Totally. Yeah. No, it's so true. Like, people at your level.
You also have this solo project all made up. When did you start that?
A few years ago. Yeah, the solo project, but it's like also just like what I'm pivoting to just going by in general for like production and everything.
Okay.
As a byproduct of like producing for other people and like writing with people and stuff. Because I definitely like fell into the I can't do that. I like have to do this. This is what I do.
Right.
I play bass. I like do music for other people. And I don't think that was like the authentic representation of myself. Also, I think it's really hard to produce music for other people if you don't know what your own music really sounds like. You can always like tell when like James Blake has produced something. I hear it,
Are you familiar with the band Illuminati Hotties?
Yes, love.
Okay.
So good.
Yeah, so Sarah's a good friend of mine.
Cool.
And I remember when she was starting the project and she literally called it her calling card. When she made the first record, she said, this is my calling card as a producer. Because I think you're exactly right of like, how do you know your vibe as a producer or the range that you have as a producer unless you just start doing it?
Yeah, totally. Otherwise, you're like chasing something that's kind of impossible. It's like, this person wants an Ariana Grande record, or like you're directionless.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. And it's very similar to literally what you were just saying of like, don't network with people that you're not interested in.
Yeah.
Don't make music that you're not interested in.
Don't do it. Yeah.
So would you say that your motivation for starting this project is kind of that calling card?
Kind of, but it was also like some of the storytelling, and like just being completely frank, like coming back to myself after I got a lot of like really crazy family trauma to work through, and like being able to like I grew up singing and then I just stopped at some point. So kind of coming back, like when you sing, you're honest.
Yeah.
And I wasn't willing to talk about those things until I was. So it was kind of just closing the loop of acceptance. Like, unfortunately, this is who I am.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Oh, no. So you also do background vocals too.
Yeah, usually.
That's something that still like blows my mind is whenever I see a bassist competently playing bass and singing at the same time.
It's because of this guy was like,
I'm literally just piecing it together like MH.
Yeah.
And for those of you who might be listening and not watching the podcast, what does your beanie say?
I love this beanie. It says Mayor Hawthorne, but it was perfect. It's raining in LA today.
Yeah, it's cute. It's a cute beanie. But just so that you guys know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's who MH is.
Yeah. But yeah, his music is so hard because he's a bass player and like the bass lines are involved. And he was like, yeah, can you just sing that? I was like, you're like literally insane. Like, this is psychotic that you think I can sing that. And he was just like, yeah, cool. Can you do it? I was like, okay, I guess I better practice.
I guess this kind of sounds like it, but has there ever been an artist that's like pushed you kind of to your limit?
Oh my gosh, yeah, like him and Weyes.
Really? Okay.
So hard, so challenging. Like her music is like orchestral.
Yeah.
Like, through composed, like a lot of like endings are different every time. Like the resolutions will be like completely different in the second or third verse, and nothing repeats, or like it's the same chorus melody but the harmony is different, and there's 6-minute songs, and like everybody, it was like 5-part harmonies, everybody in the band sang, and then her, of course. It's like a real, there was like, it's like we're playing music, this is hard.
Yeah, I mean her music is beautiful. Do you think
it's
that
so beautiful? She
was sitting in 9th grade Orchestra Denial?
We can ask her. We gotta get her on the phone.
Get her on the phone. Sorry, this is my only question for you.
Only question.
Have you ever sat as a 12-year-old or 13-year-old?
Orchestra Denial.
Yeah, Orchestra Denial. How has working with other artists impacted your work?
well, at least in my experience, the people that I have had the privilege of working with, their songs are like written by them. They're very involved in the process. And I think that was different than what I expected. Like, I didn't expect people to be so hands-on. I thought like there were people that do these, you know, jobs for you or whatever. But I think all of the people I've gotten to work with are like very authentic. And then also like just going to every corner of the world and seeing music that is so like personal and authentic to somebody, like sung back to you by like 6,000 people is so cool. And I'm sure that when whoever was like writing the song in their bedroom, they like were not thinking about that. You know, it was just like their truth.
Yeah. I'm so curious too of what it's like to be such a close witness to something that feels pretty historic in a lot of ways.
Whoa. Yeah. I can't think about that. I just like have to do my job.
That's real.
You know?
That's so real.
Yeah. I just like can't think about that.
No, honestly, that makes a lot of sense. It's one of those things too that maybe I would categorize under this idea of like ego stretching, of just sometimes like the highs feel so high and the lows feel so low. And sometimes really the best thing that you can do is just like pay attention to what's in front of you.
That's kind of exactly how I see it. And like, I think some of my friends have perceived that as being jaded. But like, there's going to be seasons of wins and losses. And at any point, I don't know what the loss, like what the sad season is, like what it actually means. Like that's something that like time and perspective takes. And so like, I have this incredible opportunity in front of me. Like, I'm very grateful for it. I really like believe in it, and I like love her music. I'm so happy to be there. That's kind of how I feel, you know?
That's honestly maybe the healthiest attitude.
Thank you.
That I can conceptualize. I actually don't think I could conceptualize that. So for this next segment, I like to bring out my laptop. I like to source would you rather questions from my Instagram, and usually they do a pretty good job of delivering. So we're going to do a rapid fire would you rather. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Would you rather do an impromptu set at the White House or lose 2 of your favorite pieces of equipment?
Who's president?
Valid.
That's my answer.
Valid. Okay. All right. Would you rather use a Temu bass or replace your entire pedal board with Temu pedals?
Temu bass.
All right. Would you rather be criticized by Miles Davis all your life or dissed by Kendrick once?
Miles Davis.
All right. Would you rather never be able to use a snare again or never be able to use a kick again?
I guess a snare.
A snare.
I don't know.
That's a tough one, right?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Can we put hi-hat as an option?
No.
I don't want to see one of those things.
Actually, fuck, marry, kill, hi-hat, snare, or kick. Last one. Would you rather have a homemade dinner cooked by my brother or have a wine and yap sesh with me?
Oh my God, how could you do this to me?
You have to choose.
Oh God, Adam's dinners are great.
They are really good.
But he doesn't drink. I can't answer this one.
Damn it. I was really looking forward to the soundbite. I want to talk about the All Made Up project.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I want to first of all talk about your influences because there's a lot of like Americana in there. Where did that come from?
My influences. I like actually was like very intentional with the sounds I chose. And it wasn't just like, I think this song needs violin or whatever. Like I decided which instruments would just be used on the project, like, and I tried to like fit them all in there. Sounds that were like comforting to me. So like I grew up with a lot of Hawaiian family, and I grew up listening to tons of Hawaiian music and like pedal steel, like lap steel, like ukulele, like, you know, so I knew like that is a sound that is like comforting to me. My grandmother was a classical pianist. That is a sound that is comforting to me. I used her piano. Yeah, everything was like really intentional. And then in terms of like the songwriting, I was like, whatever happens, happens. But like sonically, I want it to live in the same space.
I love when people use limitations in their projects like that, of saying, this is the sonic palette, this is what I'm going to use. I'm not going to necessarily let the song be the anchor and then kind of do offshoots, like when you're talking about like, oh, what does this song need? It needs violin, but rather being like, I'm going to construct a song using these things that I know are going to work.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like I used a lot of like strings and things that I grew up playing, and also that I like can play. Another big thing, because I like wanted to play a lot of things. So yeah, that's how I landed there.
Touching on the Hawaiian thing, because that's so interesting. When you talk about Hawaiian music, are you talking about kind of like that 1950s onward 1960s type of vibe, or are you talking about like folk music?
Yeah, like all of that. It's one of the things that is like comforting in like a I'm at home kind of way, so this is what I put on. you know? And it's very far removed. Like I don't know like if this is something that you fall into also, but like I don't listen to things that I work on. Like I want something very different. If I'm listening to music for pleasure, like I listen to like tons of like London Symphony Orchestra. Like that's probably like my number one on Spotify, you know.
That's so funny.
Just like Ravel. It's Ravel.
No, 100%. I mean, last night I was on a whole like ambient Japanese kick. I don't make that music.
I don't make that, but it has to be different than the like stuff that you're surrounded by all the time.
Oh, it's really funny that you're bringing that up, because I was literally just thinking about that last night, of how much I love music that does not remind me of other music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So you released a 7-track project called Tell Me What It's Like Up There. And it was in homage to your grandmother. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So we were really close. She was kind of like my mom in a lot of ways. She was a concert pianist. And I don't know, like I really thought it was about her. When she passed, I found that to be like completely impossible to like wrap my head around. Like she was like really like larger than life. Like she was 92, but like there was no way she could just die. You know, like she was just like this like being.
Right.
And definitely like the matriarch of the family. And it was like, you know, she disappeared one day, essentially. And I just, like, did not understand how, like, I was supposed to navigate things in this new world. But it turned out that most of the songs were actually about me, not her. So...
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that, because I read a little blurb that you were really learning about the similarities between the two of you. And I'm kind of wondering, you know, in making this project in the wake of her death and kind of analyzing, you know, your relationship and your similarities, what were some of the things that you were surprised to learn?
Well, they're not pretty. After she died, I like opened up about a like very like dark, long chapter of my life, like where I experienced sexual abuse from starting at like 6 years old. And my grandma grew up in a very like rural community on a ranch, really far removed from people. And she was kind of like an isolated person, which like I also became like a very isolated person as a result of just like many years of sexual abuse. But she ended up like marrying somebody incredibly abusive. So I kind of like working backwards, she was like a very like authentic, big person. She was so funny. Like she was like always cracking jokes, super witty, like really, I always thought she was like invincible and you could do anything. The world is your oyster kind of mentality. But like also understanding that she's like gone through some like really crazy things that she never talked about. She never like made a big fuss about or anything. And she like normalized them in a way that like I actually did think it was normal. And then like going through my own, like I knew she had an abusive husband. Sure. But like going through my own trauma, realizing how just like deeply wounded she was. And then also like she was a concert pianist, but she got pregnant really young. She got married to somebody. She didn't get to like fulfill her dreams. She didn't get to like live the life that she wanted. And like a lot of my cousins are also musicians, classical musicians. And so we're all girls. And like just getting the support from her to like do that, I realized like after she passed that was like her own kind of way of getting to do it, maybe.
Wow.
I know I am very similar to her. And so for certain members of my family, that's very difficult.
Interesting.
Because, you know, not everybody has the same relationship with their mother or their sister or whatever, you know? And so, but I see that in myself and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, like, I know why they're frustrated with me. Or like,
yeah. Okay. But you had a good relationship with her.
Yeah, definitely.
It just sounds so poignant. And I think in that way, too, when you're writing these songs, is it more of the leaning into the catharsis, or are you also trying to create answers for yourself?
I'm not trying to create answers for myself at all. I go to therapy for that. But sometimes I am trying to figure out how I actually feel about something.
Yeah.
Dressage calls it like little like fortunes or like little eyes into the future.
Yeah.
Like where your body knows something before like you've really accepted it.
Yes. I was listening back to the record and obviously did not know the extent of it. But you know, I had been listening to the songs and like seeing also like your snippets on Instagram and being like, ooh, like I love this. Like I don't know what she's saying, but I love this. Because I like as a producer, I listen to lyrics last.
Same. Yeah. My Miss her lyrics are so bad.
Do not invite us to karaoke.
Do not invite me to karaoke.
Yeah. It is bad.
Truly atrocious.
And I love that track, My Eyes Don't See Like They Used to. Just on a sonic level. But then now, like, kind of connecting the dots and hearing a little bit more, I'm like, oh, wow, what a little emotional punch.
Thank you.
I'm ready. I'm going to listen back to it. I'm ready to be devastated.
I'm ready for that, too.
So for this Secret Sauce segment, Allie has brought her pedal board. Do you want to walk us through this?
Yeah, of course. I heard a rumor that people were wondering about recording bass. So I thought I would just bring my little baby pedal board. Before there were like big pedal boards, there's this one.
For those who aren't able to see the pedal board, can you just tell us what is on your signal chain?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're going through a polytune, just true bypass polytune, into the Origin Effects Cali 76. We have a JHS Super Bolt 2 in bypass right now. And then we're going to a Noble bass preamp tube DI.
Amazing.
So depending on like the sound of the track, like you either like usually the sound that I like listening to is not the sound that is going to necessarily work with the song. A lot of times, like I'll go for like a super like low end heavy sound. Like I'll show you right now. Like this is a bass that has round on strings on it. I usually use flats, but this is just like my trusty jazz bass. So this is the sound I usually would fuck with the most. But usually this will be a little bit too round for pretty much any recording. Once it gets in there, somebody's going to say, can you like roll off the tone knob? Can we brighten it up a little bit? Or that somebody is me. I'm like, oh God, we need just a little bit more brightness. If you're doing like a slap thing, a lot of times slap stuff has like a drive on it, or like you could use distortion to achieve the same thing. You just need something to like just kind of push the highs through in a nice way, so it's not just like trouble.
Right. So now you're turning on the JHS.
Yeah. But like, yeah, if you're looking to get like a slap bass sound that like cuts through just a little tiny bit more, like try adding a distortion or a drive to it. Like it might not seem like the thing, but it probably is the thing. Like it does a little bit of work that it just makes it pop through a little bit more.
Yeah, I like that it's kind of subtle.
It's pretty subtle, yeah, but like depending on the song, you know.
It just pushes it.
Yeah, it just pushes it through, but like also like when you look at the waveforms, like if you're just having like a clean bass sound, you're gonna see the pops are gonna like peak like almost immediately. Yeah, and it's like it brings it. I think it kind of works as a compressor too.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Right. That you kind of have like a clipped limiter in a way.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so this is like my nice little.
It's so smooth. Yeah, I mean, and also it sounds like the Cali 76
is doing a lot of work.
Yeah. What does it sound like without it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And then can you throw that back on? Woo.
Smooths things out a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Can I hear you jam out on this?
Yeah. Got the end.
The upper register is crazy.
It sounds cool, right?
Woo! Man.
Yeah, it's sick. Bass fuzz is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's reminding me how much I like JHS.
Yeah, they make great shit.
They do. So crispy. Love
crispy.
It. Love it. Yay!
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 Oh, this is like, should I be clapping?
So that is our episode today. Allee, AKA All Made Up, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, such a pleasure.
So much fun.
And before you go, there is a little bit of a tradition here on the show. Close your eyes for 2 seconds. As a token, oh yeah, you hate surprises too.
I'm terrified.
Okay, as a token of my gratitude of you being on the show and sharing your secret sauce with us, I would like to share my secret sauce with you. You can open your eyes, which is my hot sauce.
Okay, that's sick. That is so cool. What a lovely surprise. This is the best surprise maybe ever. This is so good.
I don't know what you were expecting, but I'm glad.
I don't know. I'm glad you didn't like shoot it at me or like pour it on my head.
You were sitting 3 feet away from me. I don't know why I'd shoot it at you.
I don't know.
It would really hurt.
It would. It would be painful. That is so cool. Thank you.
Project. Yes, of course. Of course. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Of course.
And for those of you who would like to keep up with Allee and everything that she's up to, you can follow her on Instagram. We'll put all of her handles down below. And if you would like to support the show, all of the ways that you can stream this are also in the links down below. And the best thing that you can do is tell your friends that we exist and we're out here and we're doing it.
Tell everyone you know.
Were you at that performance with Elton John?
Yes. Yeah. I know. So crazy. Very silent scream. That was insane.
That is crazy.
That was actually insane.